I've known my brother-in-law Jim claims to have been dating Brady for 10 years, but she says they haven't spoken in a decade. His excuses for not bringing her to family events are starting to sound like a sinister lie. As we sat around the dinner table, Jim regaled us with stories of Brady's niece and nephew, showing us pictures on his phone. My husband, Bork, and I exchanged a knowing glance, amused by Jim's enthusiasm. But then something happened. Jim mentioned that Brady was working late on Christmas Eve, and he couldn't join us for dinner because he was spending the evening with her. My mother-in-law, beaming with pride, said, "That's so sweet of you, Jim, to prioritize Brady on the holidays." I thought nothing of it at the time, chalking it up to Jim's dedication to his long-term girlfriend. What caught my attention, though, was Jim's brief hesitation before responding. "Yeah, she's really been stressed out lately, so I want to make sure she knows I'm there for her." The pause was almost imperceptible, but it made me raise an eyebrow. I brushed it off as mere politeness, focusing instead on the warmth and laughter filling the room. And this is where everything seemed normal, with Jim's stories of Brady blending into our family's holiday celebration. As I sat in my mother-in-law's kitchen, late afternoon sunlight streaming through the window, I listened intently as she recounted a phone call with Jim. He called her sweetie on the phone, she said with a warm smile, and they talked about her niece and nephew. He's always so sweet with her, and I've even seen the pictures of her kids on his phone. I thought nothing of it at the time, assuming it was just a term of endearment. But then something happened. My mother-in-law mentioned that Brady was on Jim's phone plan, which seemed like a normal enough arrangement for a long-term couple. What I discovered next made my stomach drop, however, was not the fact itself, but the casual way Jim shared details about Brady's life, as if they were truly inseparable. My mother-in-law continued, "He's always talking about her family, and I've even met her sister's kids a few times." I raised an eyebrow, slightly puzzled, but quickly rationalized it as Jim being a caring partner. I thought nothing of it at the time, focusing instead on the pleasant atmosphere of the kitchen, but a tiny seed of doubt had been planted in my mind. As we strolled through the local pumpkin patch on that autumn afternoon, my husband and I spotted Brady's sister and her children, their laughter and chatter filling the air. Jim, who had been walking alongside us, abruptly bolted away, avoiding any interaction with them. I thought nothing of it at the time, assuming he might have been feeling overwhelmed or needed some space. But then something happened. He quickly rejoined us, his expression neutral, and continued chatting with us as if nothing had occurred. I brushed it off, attributing his behavior to his quirky nature, and we continued our leisurely walk, enjoying the vibrant fall colors and lively atmosphere. What I discovered next made my stomach drop. But for now, the pleasant afternoon and Jim's warm demeanor pushed any doubts to the back of my mind. As we walked into Jim's brother's home office, I noticed Jim staring at his phone with a mixture of sadness and gratitude. His brother, my husband, had just forwarded him a Facebook photo of a firefighter kissing Brady at a Halloween party. Jim thanked him and seemed subdued for a moment, but I thought nothing of it at the time. He had always spoken highly of Brady, and I assumed he was just feeling a bit down about something. But then something happened. Jim's expression changed, and he became quiet, almost introspective for the rest of the evening. I brushed it off as him being tired or preoccupied, but a small part of me wondered why he was so affected by the photo. What I discovered next made my stomach drop, but in that moment, I attributed Jim's behavior to his caring nature. He began to talk about Brady's niece and nephew, showing us pictures and sharing stories, and I was struck by his kindness and dedication to her family. But as the evening drew to a close, I caught a glimpse of something in his eyes, a flicker of sadness that seemed to linger, and I couldn't help but feel a slight unease, though I couldn't quite put my finger on why. I sat in my living room, laptop open, scrolling through Instagram as I searched for Brady's profile. But then something happened. I finally found her, and my chest tightened. As I sent her a friendly invitation to my son's birthday party, I waited with bated breath for a response. But as I delved deeper into her profile, what I discovered next made my stomach drop. There were no photos of Jim, none whatsoever. That's when I realized something terrifying. The 10-year relationship Jim had been talking about might be a fabrication. I felt a pang of unease as I questioned my own perception. Was I the one who had been blind to the truth all along? But as I sat there, frozen in uncertainty, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. And this is where everything changed. My mind racing, I thought back to all the times Jim had spoken about Brady, about her family, her job, and her life. It all seemed so real, so genuine. But now, I wasn't so sure. The seeds of doubt had been sown, and I couldn't help but wonder what else had Jim been lying about. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. The birthday card I'd received from her, with the photo of her and Brady in the background, was actually a stock image from a generic greeting card website. My thumb hovered over the DM screen. The typing bubbles appeared, disappeared, appeared again, pulsing. Claire, I don't know who you are, but I haven't spoken to Jim in 10 years. Not since high school. Please stop contacting me. 10 years. The number dissolved in my chest. That's when I realized something terrifying. Every holiday, every Brady can't make it, every niece and nephew story, every gut health conversation Jim claimed they shared fabricated. The firefighter at the Halloween party wasn't the other man. Jim was the ghost. My mother-in-law swore she'd heard him on the phone. Heard, sweetie, seen pictures. Was she lying too? Or had Jim performed the role so perfectly he'd convinced his own mother? I scrolled back through our texts. Years of Brady says hi. Brady's worried about you. Brady made this recipe. My fingers trembled over the keyboard. Had I enabled this? Every polite nod, every tell her we said hello had my belief fed the fiction. The pumpkin patch. Jim bolting away from Brady's sister. Not guilt. Recognition. He knew she'd expose him. Brady's profile picture, a woman laughing beside a fire truck. No Jim. Never Jim. Smoke and mirrors I'd helped him build. My phone vibrates. Jim's name. 3 messages in 7 seconds. Block her number. Now. Thanks for thinking of her, but we're working through things. She's confused. My thumb hovers. Working through things. 10 years. A ghost with a fire truck profile picture. That's when I realized something terrifying. He's not protecting Brady. He's protecting the lie. Every holiday excuse. Every pumpkin patch sprint. Every sweetie my mother-in-law heard through a bedroom door. The niece and nephew photos stolen from a sister's Facebook. Memorized like lines. The gut health talks. The anxiety talks. My life fed to a fiction. My stomach drops through the floor. I'm the one who believed. I'm the one who defended him to Bork. He's private, he's loyal. I built the shrine alongside him. The screen blurs. Not tears. Rage, sharp and clean. Block her. Thanks for thinking of her. Working through things. 3 commands. 0 questions. He doesn't ask what Brady said. He already knows. Because he wrote her script too. My fingers find the screen. Not to block. To type. The bubbles appear. Vanish. Appear. Vanish. But then something happened. Jim's eyes darted around the office break room, avoiding mine as he apologized for the Instagram interaction. Brady was overwhelmed, he claimed, his voice laced with nervousness. I watched, intrigued, as he fidgeted with his cup of coffee. That's when I realized something terrifying. Jim was hiding something, and it wasn't just about the Instagram post. What I discovered next made my stomach drop. The depth of his deception. He spoke of Brady's niece and nephew, of her job, of her life, with an intimacy that seemed almost fabricated. And this is where everything changed. Jim's words, once a gentle hum of familiarity, now grated against my ears like a lie. I felt a pang of doubt. Was I the problem? Blindly trusting Jim's tales of a decade-long relationship. The question hung in the air, taunting me, as Jim's eyes finally met mine, a fleeting glimpse of guilt before he looked away. Jim's voice was laced with concern as he told his brother Brady was really upset by Claire's message, said it caught her off guard. But I knew that wasn't true. Brady had told me otherwise. That's when I realized something terrifying. Jim's lies went far deeper than I'd imagined. But then something happened, a memory echo from our past that made my mind reel. I recalled the pumpkin patch incident, where Jim had bolted at the sight of Brady's sister, a stark contrast to his supposed affection for her family. What I discovered next made my stomach drop. Jim's fabrications weren't just about Brady, but about his entire life. And this is where everything changed, as the truth began to unravel, thread by thread. As I stood there, frozen in doubt, one thought echoed in my mind: the most dangerous lies are the ones we tell ourselves, and the most devastating truths are the ones we refuse to see. As I watched Jim withdraw from our family gathering, avoiding conversations about Brady, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. But then something happened. My mother-in-law casually mentioned that she had never actually seen Jim and Brady together, despite his claims. That's when I realized something terrifying. Jim's stories about Brady's niece and nephew, her job, and their supposed relationship were all too perfect, too rehearsed. What I discovered next made my stomach drop. A photo of Brady, taken at a family event, with a man who wasn't Jim. And this is where everything changed. I remembered the pumpkin patch incident, where Jim bolted upon seeing Brady's sister, and it mirrored the unease I felt now. The memory echo of his abrupt departure came flooding back, and I knew I had to confront the truth. As I stood there, the reality punched me in the gut. Jim's decade-long relationship with Brady was a lie, a carefully crafted facade. The most haunting truths are the ones we hide from ourselves, and the most devastating lies are the ones we tell to others, with a smile. Should we prioritize honesty and potentially devastating consequences, or protect Jim's loved ones by keeping his deceit a secret? Midnight draped the room in hush as I stared at the crumpled photo Jim had slipped into my nightstand. The picture showed Brady, a stranger to my world, laughing beside a firefighter. Or smile, the one Jim described. My mind flipped back to first time Jim whispered about Brady's niece, the way his eyes softened when he named the kids, a memory that once felt like a secret shared between siblings. I traced the timeline on my phone, matching his excuses for missing family gatherings with the dates his stories shifted. The pumpkin patch encounter, Jim bolting when Brady's sister appeared, suddenly clicked. But then something happened. The group chat, where my mother-in-law recalled Jim calling Brady sweetie on the phone, revealed a number I recognized from carrier bill. I dialed, and the voice on other end answered with a laugh that wasn't Jim's. That's when I realized something terrifying. The 10-year relationship was a script Jim performed for himself, a phantom love he never lived. Mask fell, layer by layer, exposing a man terrified of being truly still alone. In quiet that followed, I whispered to empty room, lies are the only things we can hold onto when the truth refuses to stay.
Hello, I'm Dr. Julian Reed. What you've just witnessed is a textbook example of pathological lying, gaslighting, and emotional manipulation. The sequence unfolds with a meticulous construction of a false narrative first. Jim creates a credible backstory by inserting himself into Brady's life, fabricating details that are emotionally resonant. Nieces, nephews, a shared career, even a photograph with a stranger masquerading as intimacy. He then reinforces the illusion through repetitive affirmation, allowing each lie to become a self-validating truth in the minds of those around him. The next layer is the strategic deployment of gaslighting. When Claire or other family members express doubt, Jim subtly redirects attention, offering proof such as phone numbers or misremembered conversations, thereby sowing confusion and eroding the victim's confidence in their own perception. Finally, he employs emotional manipulation, exploiting affection and loyalty to bind his audience to the story. Using moments of vulnerability, the pumpkin patch incidento humanize his deceit and preempt scrutiny. Each step is calibrated to maintain control, ensuring that any challenge is met with a mixture of doubt, guilt, and the fear of destabilizing the family's equilibrium. Is it morally justifiable to confront Jim about his deceitful behavior, potentially causing further harm to his family and relationships? On one hand, exposing the web of lies could liberate Claire and others from a prolonged psychological siege, restoring authenticity and preventing future manipulation. On the other hand, the revelation might fracture already fragile bonds, plunge loved ones into crisis, and possibly trigger retaliatory aggression from Jim, compounding the damage. Both courses carry weight, and the ethical calculus hinges on the balance between the right to truth and the potential collateral trauma. So the real question is this: is it morally justifiable to confront Jim about his deceitful behavior, potentially causing further harm to his family and relationships? Some of you will say one thing, others will say the opposite. Comments are open. I want to hear both sides.